Hi guys, we're the Rossers, and this is the story of our daughter Abigail. Abigail was born on February 26, 2023. Her original due date was March 14th, 2023. We had to go in the hospital, or Bree had to go in the hospital early because she was diagnosed with preeclampsia.
Yeah, I was having a headache at home that wasn't going away with hydrating like a ton overnight. Mark was trying to get work done outside on our yard, and I just told him after trying for multiple hours to get my headache to go away that I think I should probably call the on-call nurse, and I did. And she said I should go in and get checked out, so I did. And my blood pressure was like 150 over 90. So they said that I should have the baby as soon as possible to cure the preeclampsia. They suggested a C-section, but I really did not want to have a C-section again after having one for Brooke. There wasn't anything bad about my C-section experience. I just really have wanted to experience natural labor and a vaginal delivery. So I asked if there was any other alternative option, and they said that they could try to induce me a mechanical induction because the normal medication I couldn't take because this would be a VBAC. So they did a mechanical induction to dilate my cervix, and after we spent the night in the hospital while that took effect, the next day they were able to start Pitocin on me in the morning at like 9 a.m. For Abigail coming into the world, the contractions started with Pitocin, and I tolerated them fairly well at first in the beginning. We had some really amazing nurses at St. Anne that were really encouraging. Mark, initially when I didn't really need the support, was just living his best life, searching through YouTube videos and relaxing. And then they became more intense, and Mark really helped me through them, breathing and remembering things that I had researched just to keep my body calm and relaxed so that the contractions could do their thing. I kept going, and then I told our nurse that I felt a lot of pressure down there, and she said, "Where?" And I said, "My butt." And she said, "Okay, well, let's get you checked out because I think that could be baby's head." And sure enough, she checked me and I was at a 10, so we got things going, and Mark started gowning up to catch the baby, and it wasn't that long of like active pushing. And then Mark caught Abigail coming out.
Yeah, so Abigail was born, and I was able to be the first one to catch her, and everything happened really fast and truly a beautiful moment. And as soon as I caught her, I put her up on Bree's chest, and we waited to find out Abigail's gender. And through all the excitement and everything, I forgot to announce to Bree and everyone what the gender was, and so one of the nurses had to kind of prompt me. But yeah, it was a beautiful moment, letting everyone know that we had a beautiful baby girl.
Yeah, it was the best moment of my life, and I'm so grateful to Jesus and to Abigail for giving that to me.
We had a list of about 5 names for a girl and a boy. The first name on the list was Abigail, and I started looking up the meaning of the names and found out that the name Abigail means the joy of the Father. So at that moment, I told Bree that, and she said that she had thought of Joy as a middle name, and we just knew in that moment that it was a perfect name for her. So we were in the hospital for 2 more days after Abigail was born. Bree was recovering. She was able to meet her cousins, aunt and uncles, and grandparents were all able to come visit us.
And big sister.
And big sister.
The first few days with Abigail were everything you would expect with a newborn. She was beautiful and sleepy, and we were practicing nursing, and she would latch okay in the hospital, not like super robust, but we had the same thing with our first, so it wasn't like super alarming at the time. We just remember holding Abigail and thinking she's so chill, like she just wants to sleep and cuddle, and yeah, she was perfect. She's a perfect little baby.
So we got home, and Bree was just kind of having a hard time getting Abigail to have good amounts of feeding time. She just wasn't latching well. She was really kind of lethargic, just sleeping all the time. Bree took her in for a follow-up appointment, and we learned that Abigail was still losing weight. So our doctor asked that we come back the following day and get another weight check.
So our pediatrician said that she thinks that we have all the right ingredients to have a good and proper feed, so she wanted Abigail to get checked out at the hospital with more labs. Mark came and met me and Abigail at the hospital, where they started running more labs and tests on her.
So the next couple days after we were admitted to the hospital were kind of a whirlwind. We were transferred to a couple different hospitals and eventually ended up at Seattle Children's Hospital.
Abigail just kept on getting sicker and sicker. They were treating her for either a bacterial infection or a viral infection with different antibiotics and antivirals. But it seemed like nothing was working and helping, and every few hours she would get more labs done that were just worse and worse news. She ended up being intubated and on several blood pressure medications to keep her blood pressure up. And the sicker she got, we knew that things were not heading in the right direction, but we certainly were not giving up on her. We were praying a lot and just asking, the doctors to do whatever they could. She eventually led us to deciding to put her in ECMO. As they were doing that, they have to do a scan of her brain to make sure that there's not any bleeding going on. And at that point, they found a large brain bleed, and she was no longer a candidate for that. So the doctors asked us if we wanted to continue to try to support her little body, or if we wanted to put her in comfort care. So Mark and I took a moment, and we both just knew that we didn't want her to suffer any more than she already had. So we made the decision to stop treatment and asked her family to come and gather with us. Her last few hours on this earth were just family singing over her and praying over her, and Mark and I both got to hold her, and it was really a beautiful time of just celebrating her and who she was before she left this earth to go be home with Jesus.
Some moments that I'll always cherish are I was the first one to hold Abigail when she came in the world, and I was the last one to hold her.
We miss her a lot. This is the worst thing that we've ever been through. But we're just leaning into each other and Brooke and Jesus, and we're so appreciative of our friends and family for being there for us.
last night of Abigail's life, we learned that she tested positive for enterovirus. Later on, we learned that the virus had basically attacked her liver and killed it. And then she had a bunch of secondary organ failure from that.
I think for us that's helpful to know what killed Abigail, but it's really hard to know that and then still wonder if there's anything else you could have done. And even though we know there's nothing else after speaking with our neonatologist and that this is just a freak thing, it's super rare and there's no antiviral for it. So there's no other treatment that she could have gotten in the hospital to try to save her life.
So part of the reason why we're sharing this story, because we know we're not alone in having the death of a child and how hard it is, and we kind of want other people to know out in the world that has gone through the same thing, that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we're here for you, and we're praying for you. And we also want to just talk how we're coping and kind of getting through this terrible situation.
And for us, it's only by Jesus's grace and mercy in our life. We believe that God loved mankind so much that he sent his son to die on the cross for our sins so that we can have a relationship with him. And as believers in Jesus and having a relationship with him, that's who we depend on and trust on to get us through the highs and the lows of life. And we know that Abigail is in heaven and that we're going to see her again. When we were in the hospital and we had just named Abigail in the wee mornings, February 27th, Mark held her and he wanted to play the song Gratitude for her. The only thing we can think of when we think of Abigail is just gratefulness for her life and for knowing her and the honor and privilege it was to be her parents for her 8 days this earth. And we are going to cherish her every single day that she's not here, and until we go to her and see her again, we will remember her and love her as best we can.
So this grief journey has been really hard, but we appreciate you guys watching this video and letting us be able to share Abigail's life. We don't know what God's plan is right now, but we don't know if this story is going to touch someone. But yeah, again, we just thank you for taking the time and watching this.
Love you, Abigail. We'll see you again.